Hey there, so I'm kind of recording this in a slightly different location in front of my whiteboard, but I'm also wearing this because my microphone wasn't able to stretch over. And this is how PewDiePie does it, right? And he knows what he's doing with YouTube content. Anyway, hello. I wanted to talk about how I published and wrote a book. In this video, I'm going to take you through my process for how I wrote my first book, how I got it published by Apress, the process that I went through, as well as a few of the lessons that I learned, and also why absolutely everyone should write a book. I'm very open about that. I think everyone should write a book, regardless of how much content you think you have or whether you think what you do know about your environment. Having a book has helped me get speaking gigs, has helped me raise my prices, helps me get my profile out there. It helps with a little bit of kind of, scalable income. It's also kind of a cool thing to say to people that, yeah, I've got a book. So when I first wanted to start writing it, it was actually originally the kind of business plan for my business, like sell your service going forward. It was how I was going to take what I was doing with other businesses and turn it into a scalable model that I could repeatedly kind of, make money from without having to actually sell my time. And obviously I'd never written a book before. I didn't really know what it was that I was doing, but originally the idea was to give one tip a day to business owners to help them scale their business in the way that I had done and certainly was planning on doing per day for them to read. So I wrote out 12 chapter titles, kind of starting from like the milestones that they had. And I said, okay, well, they start from being a consultant and exchanging time for money, and they're stressed and they have to drive a lot and see customers and they're not that happy. And at the end, they have this profitable, scalable business that allows them to do more things with their family and spend more time, out of the office and doing things that they love. And what was interesting is that originally I wrote out 30 ideas roughly for each of the 12 chapters to help people get to those milestones. So the first milestone is understanding, why you hate your job and why you need to scale. And the second milestone was understanding your fear about scaling, getting over those fears about scale. And so I wrote out 30 ideas per chapter, I guess. And eventually I started writing 6 ideas per day. I just was going to sit down and write out 6 of those ideas per day. And so it started out, I just kind of ground through it. I gave myself 2 hours a day to write, and I just wrote. I just continued to write. It took a lot of time. I had to get up early to go ahead and write those chapters. Eventually, what happened is if anyone's like bought the book, you can still see it kind of has 12 chapters. This one here, Scale and Growth, is just around the corner, is a lot shorter, and some of them are a lot shorter than I realized, but I was building out the processes for my own business. So I had a lot of emails in there that I was going to use to generate sales and, show people how to write blog content. I had my blog content, I had my sales letters in there. So it was really like this long-term business plan and just a strategy, not even a strategy, just a plan, the steps that I was going to take to get to each kind of level that I needed to get to. So that's why I wrote out kind of the steps and the plans in the way that I did. Then I went to self-published. I went to Readsy, where I kind of wrote the book, which is like a free website where you can write the book. And I then got it published in a format for ebooks on Readsy. I uploaded it to Blurb and I uploaded it to Amazon Kindle, like Kindle publishing, and kind of went through all the formatting myself. What I learned is that formatting a book and editing a book takes a lot of time. It actually takes more time than writing it. Writing it took X amount of time, but editing it took way more time. And when I first initially self-published the book, people were kind of talking to me about all the different spelling errors and typos and things like this. And that's great. That's fine. It's kind of what I wanted it for. And so we went through it a second time, kind of self-published again, just by myself, just iterating those versions. And because it was print on demand, it meant that I didn't really have to worry too much about like printing too many or too few, because it was only printed at any time someone bought it, which was a really good kind of scalable income idea and model, right? And I started promoting the book a lot and promoting it out to other people and using my email list and pushing it out to my group, and I did a podcast. And then Apress found the book and they reached out to me and they said, hey, we'd love to talk to you about publishing this through our guys. How would you feel about that? And that's kind of where it went off. They discovered me on Twitter, I believe. Shiva, who works with Apress, found me on Twitter and said, hey man, we'd love to talk about publishing the book for you and doing a proper job of it. And to be fair, it needed it. It needed an editor. It needed someone to go through that and have a fine-tooth comb and go over some of the wording and also the typesetting and the copy editing and things like this, moving things around, making it easier for people to read. It was clearly a self self-published book, in my opinion. And so through that process, I was then given a contract, which I kind of went through, and it was pretty generous in my opinion. They give you an advance on the royalties and they tell you how much you'll make. And what was really interesting is they had to be really clear on, we won't promote it. It's my job to promote it, and that's fine, and to publicize it. And that's why other people like have publicists, other proper authors have publicists. But I was like, well, this is really going to be a product, and it's a lead in, it's designed to kind of help me get speaking jobs and stuff like this. But what was most interesting is when it was done, the book does look, I think the book looks 100 times better than it did originally. I've got the original here. So this is my original. And first of all, the typesetting, you can see how thick it is compared to the second edition, I guess. That's because my typesetting is really broad. Whereas in the new one, it's much more focused. And people have gone through this one and with a fine-tooth comb, and I think this reads better as well the second time around. So I'm writing the second one that's currently being edited now. I'm probably going to self-publish that one again just to get it out there. The third one is then on how to kind of sell marketing funnels and run a profitable marketing funnel business. And the fourth one I'm kind of germinating. It's the process that was more important. Figuring out the milestones that people needed to get to from where they are now to where they need to be and where I wanted them to be. So unsure of how to make sales and unconfident making sales and not very good at selling, all the way through to motivated to make the best sales possible, happy to sell, understand the morality of sales. I'm like, well, what are the milestones? And writing out those individual milestones. And then I'm probably just going to generate between 20 and 30 ideas per milestone and just write them out. Give myself 2 hours every single day and smash them out. We've actually already written most of it. It's going to go in there with kind of all of the books and then just get it out there. And yeah, it's going to suck the first few times and you'll keep learning lessons, but it has helped me massively. Being a published author is a big deal to me. It was kind of insane that it happened like that. But the only difference between me and someone who hasn't been published is chances are the person who hasn't been published hasn't written a book. I'm also going to self-publish my second book, partly because the second book, the content isn't really suitable for Apress, but also it's just a really easy way of getting it out there. And now the reality is with publishers, yeah, they do a great job with copy editing, but I can afford a copy editor and a typesetter and an editor and to go through the manuscript and make sure it reads well and translates well and that the spelling and grammar and typos are all correct. But the printing and publishing process is kind of outsourced now and massively scalable, so there's not necessarily a need to go through a publisher. I really like Apress. They were a delight to work with. I'm sure my third book will be more suitable for what they want, but I still don't think there's anything wrong with self-publishing. I think it's a very valuable way of getting your content out there, and frankly, more and more people are going to do it. If you've published a book, let me know. I'd love to hear that or see that or read it in the comments down below. Let me know. Just give me a quick link. And in the meantime, thanks very much for watching. I've probably got a couple of other videos here coming up on the side that you can watch talking about other dumb stuff that I've done. Maybe I'll talk about the book or something like that. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mike from Sell Your Service, and I will see you on the next video.